The Houston Rockets may not have started out the season as being one of the most talked about teams, but after seeing the improvement and emergence of Amen Thompson and pairing him with Tari Eason, as well as just having a great team around them, more and more NBA fans are starting to take this team seriously. And I feel like the game that they just played last night against the Boston Celtics perfectly encapsulates the actual threat that this team could be to everybody else in the Western Conference. Houston Rockets, Boston Celtics, the number 4 and number 5 defensive teams in the NBA. The Celtics start out the fourth quarter in a zone, and they instantly try to attack it by running pick and roll with Steven Adams. This forces Luke Kornet to drop, which is going to be a theme for the Rockets this entire quarter while he is on the floor, is just attacking Luke Kornet whenever possible. Creates an open 3 for Jayshawn Tate in the corner, which just misses. And now here's the point where the real game begins, when Houston's starters come back onto the floor. And what you're going to see is more pick and roll to attack the Celtics bigs. This time, Luke Kornet calls for a pre-switch with Keita, but this is still a favorable matchup for Jalen Green, and he is able to take advantage pretty easily.
That's a nice start.
On the other end of the floor, you're going to see a lot more pick and roll, but also a lot of trapping from the Houston Rockets, specifically Alperen Sengun, who was fantastic on Jason Tatum pick and rolls, especially in the fourth quarter, and someone who has really picked up his defense this season. And he is actually going to be a main catalyst for the Rockets this entire quarter, especially in these actions. That time just getting a little bit too handsy. The Rockets' idea this entire fourth quarter really was to shut down the advantage creation of a 4-on-3 situation coming off of these pick and rolls when they trap Jason Tatum. So they would trap him, but they would try their best to prevent the drop-off pass that would lead to a Kornet short roll, leading to some other pass for an open shot because they created an advantage. Right after the inbound, Dillon Brooks immediately switches onto Tatum. Luke Kornet starts rolling to the basket. Jason Tatum calls for a pick from Keita, and Amen quickly tells Sengun to pre-switch, and using that little bit of time, JT is actually able to force a really good pass into Luke Kornet, but Sengun is actually able to recover pretty well, and so it leads to this two-man game with Keita, and Sengun is actually quick enough with his hands to actually get his hand on the ball here and get a steal. This play right here, nothing really to break down, just attacking Luke Kornet at the basket this time, and that's Dillon Brooks for his 30th point of the game. And very next play, another Jason Tatum pick and roll with Luke Kornet. This time Dillon Brooks is actually in help position, but Alperen Sengun is doing whatever he can to prevent this short roll from happening. A couple possessions later, Amen Thompson, Neemias Queta switched onto him. He is able to just attack downhill pretty easily, collapsing the defense, and this is just textbook ball movement by Houston, and that's Dillon Brooks for his 9th 3 of the game. There's Jason Tatum guarded by Amen Thompson again. This time they're running double screens. The Rockets are going to keep switching these. Sengun does eventually have to switch on this, and Tatum realizes that, and he attacks Sengun pretty hard going downhill, gets him out of position. Now there's only one man in between them, Amen Thompson, and now this looks like an advantage creating situation, but because of the athleticism of Amen Thompson, Jason Tatum is trying so hard to put this out of reach that he actually ends up throwing it way too high for anybody to reach it, which ends up in a live ball turnover, and Jalen Green is already leaking out. But that right there is just the threat of Amen Thompson in real time. So this was, I believe, a miscommunication on Houston's part. I believe that Sengun was telling Dillon Brooks to pre-switch this, and so he would end up picking up Drew Holiday on the switch instead of Sengun. And the result is that Sengun and Dillon Brooks are both in super drop right now, but since Jalen Green is still within range, Drew Holiday is not taking this shot, and so he kicks it back over to Jaylen Brown. Dillon Brooks is able to recover, and from this point there's really nothing going on here. They don't have enough time to set anything up, it seems, and so it just ends up in this weird Jaylen Brown heave over Dillon Brooks' head. So here Jalen Green is dribbling the ball up the floor. Sengun is matched up again with Luke Kornet. He immediately knows what's happening. He tells Drew Holiday to pre-switch onto Sengun, but this is actually gonna play to Houston's favor because Drew Holiday on Sengun is a mismatch, and so Jalen Green waves off Sengun because obviously he does not want the Drew Holiday switch, and they're just going to have Amen Thompson set the screen. And so Luke Cornett ends up in the action anyway, and he is just able to attack him downhill pretty easily. Very next play, Jason Tatum, Luke Cornett pick and roll again. They are trying so hard, Houston is, to prevent this pass from getting through. They hard double Jason Tatum, send him to basically the half court line. They are actually able to force the ball out of his hands. Jaylen Brown starts attacking Dillon Brooks downhill, but there's nothing really there because Şengün is down here, Fred VanVleet is down here, and everybody is just covered right here. There's no advantage created at all. And so Jaylen Brown just settles here, and that's going to be another theme that you're going to see throughout this quarter. So very next play, Şengün, pick and roll, Luke Cornett. This does seem to be a little bit of a Gortat action here. And as soon as Jaylen Brown is starting to recover here, that's when Jalen Green gives a hezzy and he actually forces contact here and gets to the free throw line. And so the Rockets are getting pretty much whatever they want with Luke Cornett on the floor. That prompts Kristaps Porzingis to come back into the game. This defensive possession from the Houston Rockets is an absolute masterclass. Boston tries to run the pick and roll again, this time with Porzingis. They again hard trap Tatum at the logo. You can see that it's become a 4-on-3 situation, but there's really no advantage created because of the rotations from the Houston Rockets here. Fred VanVleet rotates to Porzingis on the short roll. Jalen Green covers Peyton Pritchard in the corner, and through that split second, Şengün is able to get back to the paint. And now that the Pritchard drive has been covered, Şengün recovers out to Drew Holiday in the corner, and he is able to force him off the line. This entire possession from Alperen Şengün is just incredible. So this possession actually starts with Drew Holiday matched up with Şengün, which, as I said before, is a mismatch. And so Porzingis is helping in the lane here. And as soon as Drew Holiday gives up the spin move, that forces Porzingis to help. He drops the pass off to Amen. Amen pump fakes, gets Porzingis out of position. Easy layup. This play starts out with a Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis pick and roll. It doesn't really go anywhere. Dillon Brooks does a really good job of fighting over the screen. They collapse the defense here, and so there's really nowhere for Jaylen Brown to go from here. He ends up losing the ball actually and is able to get the ball to Peyton Pritchard, but because they collapse so hard on the Jaylen Brown drive, this leaves Drew Holiday wide open for three.
They swing it to Holiday. From behind, Thompson blocks it. He's not real. Saves it.
Or not, because Amen, who was face guarding Jason Tatum at the logo the entire play, makes an absurd defensive recovery to get this block. And so now the Rockets are trying to get another Şengün post-up going, this time against Porzingis. And because the pass is actually so bad, this commands more attention. Dillon Brooks cuts, so that occupies the attention of Drew Holiday and Peyton Pritchard, and that leaves Amen Thompson uncovered because Jason Tatum is worried about Fred VanVleet at the three-point line. And that's just Amen Thompson ridiculousness. Here we are again, Jason Tatum, this time Drew Holiday is going to set the screen because Şengün is on Drew Holiday at this point. And it was actually a ghost screen, but Şengün is still going to hard trap this just to force the ball out of Jason Tatum's hands. And he's still close enough to be able to recover to Drew Holiday and be able to shut down this drive.
You like it, I love it. I'm rolling with it. Scramble situation.
And Şengün does a really good job of defending Porzingis here, but since I believe Dillon Brooks thought that this was a shot, the millisecond that he spends looking at the ball here is actually what costs him, as he is unable to recover to Drew Holiday in time. So this time the Rockets are going to run an inverted pick and roll here. This is going to get Drew Holiday switched onto Şengün. As we said before, this is a mismatch. And so they give it back to him on the repost. Here we are in this situation again. Şengün posting up Drew Holiday, Porzingis on the weak side. And because Porzingis doesn't want to help on this for fear of giving up another Amen layup, Şengün is just able to attack this and Drew Holiday is forced to foul him. More pick and roll, Jason Tatum, Luke Cornett. Şengün and Amen trap Tatum again, but this trap isn't as hard, so he is actually able to get the pass off this time. Luke Cornett is able to find Jaylen Brown, but in this situation with these 5 players on the floor, Jaylen Brown shooting a three-pointer is something that the Rockets will live with. Now, because of the fast break situation, Jaylen Brown ends up matched up with Şengün this time, and so they're looking for the post up again. And because the Celtics are so concerned about whatever the hell is about to happen based on the entire quarter so far, Luke Cornett gets caught sleeping because he's just waiting in help position, and that's a 3-second violation. Now, Luke Cornett was a bit shaken up on that play, so he does get subbed out here. Here's the interesting part about this. Kristaps Porzingis at this point has 5 fouls, and so the Celtics are doing whatever they can to prevent that 6th foul from happening. So Drew Holiday is actually going to be matched up with Şengün here, and so now they're going to try to attack Porzingis in pick and roll in attempts to get that foul. It ends up in a Jalen Green fadeaway jump shot, which Porzingis contests really nicely. Here the Celtics go again. They get right into the pick and roll this time, which doesn't give them any opportunity to trap. Jason Tatum is actually able to beat Şengün this time just from being Jason Tatum. The Rockets defense collapse. He is forced to throw it back out to Drew Holiday. Şengün makes a really nice recovery here, and he actually plays some really solid defense against Drew Holiday to force the miss. Here's a really good ATO. Şengün matched up with Drew Holiday, and because Şengün and Dillon Brooks are both worried about Peyton Pritchard coming off of here, as he is 5 for 5 from 3 at this point, this gives Porzingis just a little bit of time to get free.
Be long for the bench. Oh, an easy one.
We're going to see the Rockets again attacking Kristaps Porzingis in pick and roll with his 5 fouls. Amen is just going to take the jumper here that Porzingis is giving him. He does not want to be near Amen at this point, but Amen just misses. The Rockets do end up getting the offensive rebound because Porzingis was pulled outside of the paint, and they try the repost with Şengün here on Drew Holiday, but Drew Holiday is still Drew Holiday. More pick and roll, Şengün switches, and because of that little bump, Jason Tatum is actually going to be forced all the way over here while Amen and Şengün are still basically on him. Şengün is calling for a foul though, but this leaves Drew Holiday open, and so Tari Eason makes a business decision to recover to Drew Holiday at the 3-point line rather than defending Jaylen Brown, because you would rather defend the 36% 3-point shooter than the 32% 3-point shooter. And Fred VanVleet actually does make a decent effort to get back here, but this is just the Rockets playing the numbers at this point. They're just going to have Şengün attack Porzingis in the post, trying to get that 6th foul on him, but Jaylen Brown comes over for the great defensive recovery to get the block. Jason Tatum pick and roll again. Dillon Brooks knows that Porzingis tripped here, so he actually does make the effort to get the ball out of Jason Tatum's hands. That split second gives Tari Eason the time to recover out to Porzingis. Fred VanVleet is able to cover Peyton Pritchard, and Şengün is able to recover back to the paint for Drew Holiday. And at this point, there again is nothing that they can really do. Drew Holiday fades out to the corner for 3 after Şengün helped on the Pritchard drive, but he does get a good contest on the shot, and it misses.
Are you kidding me?
Like how the Rockets looking to push here.
Brooks, history. He got it again. He just tied a franchise record.
Side note, I cannot believe the basketball gods allowed this to happen. So at this point, Jason Tatum, I think, is just fed up with the traps. He says, okay, I'm not getting rid of the ball anymore. Really good screen here by Drew Holiday, and Jason Tatum with that is just able to attack downhill, and that is just tough to stop. They try to get the Porzingis switch again, this time on Fred VanVleet. Peyton Pritchard did a really good job of fighting over, so it just results in another Şengün post up against Drew Holiday. They collapse on him. Amen is the one who receives the ball. He looks over at the other end, sees that there's no time for a pass. He just has to shoot.
Hands it to Thompson. Throws it. Oh, he got it!
Oh my goodness!
And even Kristaps Porzingis has to laugh about that one. Celtics again trying to run actions with Şengün. This time they get him switched on to Jason Tatum. Amen just hard doubles Tatum at the logo. Tari recovers to Jaylen Brown. Şengün recovers back to Drew Holiday again. And once again, there's just nothing happening here. Jaylen Brown, I assume, thought that he was going to get more separation, but Tari Eason has proven to be more than capable as a defender this season. Şengün in the post again. Dillon Brooks fakes the backdoor cut here. Peyton Pritchard is unable to get back, but the shot just misses. Now Jaylen Brown has Fred VanVleet on him, so he attacks that matchup, and Fred VanVleet has to foul. Nothing really special here. Jaylen Brown just flashing to the ball, attacking Tari Eason downhill, drawing contact, and getting to the free throw line. This is just, again, going at Luke Cornett. The Rockets are so concerned with Amen Thompson here. Porzingis is pulled all the way out of the paint to deny the ball, and Şengün takes the opportunity to just outrun Luke Cornett downhill. Now it's the Celtics' turn again. Porzingis is able to catch the inbound. Şengün is off the floor, so there's no screen action this time. There's no matchup to really go at. Jason Tatum just has to attack Amen Thompson downhill, which he does, and that is just another tough shot by Jason Tatum. Puts the shoulder into him to negate the shot blocking, and tie game. The Rockets' turn again. The Celtics have Luke Cornett on the floor, and so I believe this play was always just going to be give the ball to whoever has Luke Cornett on them. This time it was Amen Thompson. Luke Cornett is not having it. He fouls Amen Thompson immediately, which was the foul to give. Now they're setting up for pretty much the exact same play. So Luke Cornett, before the ball is inbounded, he tells Jaylen Brown to pre-switch this. And because they weren't really that fast on the switch, it looks like Jaylen Brown didn't think that the ball would be handed to Fred VanVleet that quickly. He is now worried about Jalen Green in the corner because they took so long to switch. Fred VanVleet gives a nice head fake to Jalen Green in the corner that freezes Jaylen Brown for the split second that Amen needs. Jaylen Brown is now a millisecond late. This allows Amen to get him out of position while attacking downhill.
On Brown, into the lane, got the shot.
Amen Thompson finishes the game with 33 points. Dylan Brooks would finish with 36 points and 10 made threes. The Rockets hold the Celtics to just 23 fourth quarter points. They outscore them 29-23 in the fourth. And with that, they move to 31-14, good for second place in the Western Conference. 8-2 in their last 10 games. And as I said before, fourth in the NBA in defense. And I feel like this is going to be one of those games and one of those quarters that puts the entire league on notice for yet another threatening team in the Western Conference. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell to be notified when I upload. Comment down below what you want to see next. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.